morning. How are you, Kathy Ann?
I'm good, Sean. How are you, dear?
Oh, fine, thanks. So just so that everyone knows, Kathy Ann is one of the artists at the Artisan Market. She's currently in the upscale, well, it's upscale too, upcycled art show that we had in March. Unfortunately, not a lot of people got to see it because we closed down, for at the stay-at-home order. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to meet some of the artists at the market and talk a little bit about not only what they do and maybe what inspires them, but also talk about how you can use these same processes and skills to create things for yourself at home.
Yeah.
So Kathy Ann does something called Readymades, and I'm going to let her talk about that. I personally had never heard of them before Kathy Ann brought them, and I just think they're awesome. They're adorable. They're creative, and the ones that Kathy Ann does, they're truly inspired. So tell us a little bit about Readymades and why you were so intrigued by
Right.
them.
Well, I went to Maple Woods, and there was a fundamental arts class, and we did a little bit of everything, but we did art boxes. So art boxes is another name for it. I fell in love with it then, and I have kind of gone off on my own. There's a couple of Marcel Duchamp, who was a surrealist. He coined the phrase ready-mades. So I kind of use that because, that's truly where they started. And Joseph Cornell is another, he was like probably in the 30s and 40s, maybe something like that. He did a ready-made. So it was a kind of a pulling away from the traditional art, the surrealist, the Dada, that sort of stuff, which I'm very fascinated with. But I volunteer at Hillcrest, a fabulous place, and I get a lot of my boxes at the thrift store. A lot of my, like this one, I mean, this is just like a really cheap little thing that, I take it apart, take the hinges off, and paint it. And then I will put something like, I just love this. I got this for $1 at the Manor thrift store. I don't know. Can y'all see that? It's just something cool. I don't know. And, I have these. You can buy these all day long at the thrift store for $1 or something, and I could either use it like that, or I could take it apart and have two boxes, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You can do two boxes with the lid.
Sure. And this, of course, cigar boxes, you can find them at, if you're in Liberty, Y Liquors. I don't know if they're open anymore, but they also have open because of the shut-in, but I think,
sure.
But they have cigar boxes because they also have a little smoke shop in there, whatever you call it. And so those are really easy. And Sean has a picture of one that I did for my daughter back in '05. And it has very personal stuff. It was all my grandchildren's pictures and keepsakes and stuff. So, okay, this is just a cardboard box. So then I'll show you this. This is just this is one of my favorites. It's like a department store jewelry box, but this is just 3 found objects that a friend gave me. And so, it's just, and then this is something too. These are great. This kind of stuff is very popular. Let's see, how's it go? For like this, but then the backside, what a great, it's a tray and oh my gosh, you could line the stuff. I save every scrap of paper, every dried flower. I had a piece of tissue paper, but you could line that with tissue paper. You could line it with newspaper, magazines, whatever. There's just absolutely no rules on this stuff. And that's what I want to really impress on people. There's no rules. It's your creation, and it's from your heart, and what means something to you, it'll show.
I know
And
you've also used the, haven't you used some drawers like out of,
yes, I've used drawers,
because
old
those are
cabinet
neat.
drawers. They're really old cabinet drawers are really cool, and with even with the little handle. I leave the little handle on, and you can section it off with other boxes. I got this box, and I like it. It's a very nice little cedar box, I believe, but I don't have, in other boxes, I like to make shelves, so you have
Oh,
like a shelf,
right.
and so how you construct it, whether it's glue, whether it's screws, whatever is, it's, there's just no rules. You can just, this one I wanted to show too. I got this literally in the trash at one of my favorite thrift stores. I got stuff in it, so, but it's just a beautiful old box that was in the trash. And
Oh,
I'm a big trash digger for all this stuff, but I wanted to do it for Mother's Day for your shop. But Pearl, a beautiful thrift store, just, and then this was an old picture that came from the thrift store, and I took it apart. But um, I wanted to show, this one was a finished one that I did for my dear friend Stephen.
oh,
And
yes. Can you explain that to us a little
yes, I
bit?
can. Stephen is a poet, and these are some of his poems that we printed front and back, just all, quirky, because he's quirky, but all quirky. And those are his poems that I shred with scissors, really. And then let's see, how close can you see it, good,
Oh, yeah,
Sean? Oh,
definitely.
okay. So anyway, those are his poems, and this is a metal box, and then
Oh,
those are magnets. Those are helped on by magnets. This is an old ink bottle. This is a hat pin. So really, a lot of it is, things that he said or things that he's done. It's kind of like
so it's
his.
almost like a three-dimensional portrait.
Yeah, it is. That's a cool way
That's
to put it.
that's really
Yeah,
nice. I love that.
yeah, I love that, and that's one of my favorites. It's yeah. So.
So, I was thinking that with everyone staying at home now,
Mhm.
what a cool thing. I've been talking to some friends,
Yeah.
and they have been going through their basements and their
Sure.
closets, and
Yeah.
they're really enjoying looking at all their old pictures and all the
Yeah.
old heirlooms, and so started thinking about ready-mades or
Sure.
box art, and thought, wow, wouldn't that be wonderful to be able to take some of those things that have been stuck in a closet.
Yeah.
They bring back wonderful memories, and you
Sure.
only pull them out once every 10 years. And wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to take some of those things and create your own, like a family heirloom box that you could hang on your wall in your home,
Sure.
or put on your mantle in your
Sure.
fireplace. And
Absolutely.
so I was wondering if you could, I don't know, give us maybe some little ideas or tips on how to put something like that together.
Well, sure. I'll try. I've given you the examples of the boxes. They're anything really. Anything.
Probably the
Card.
stuff was in a box.
Yeah. A cardboard box. It doesn't.
Right.
Whatever you have, especially since it's a stay home. We should stay home. And this is interesting times because uh, I've been thinking, I'm not going to Home Depot or whatever. I make do with what I got. And it's interesting times because we all have so much. We have so much. And when you think outside the box, you come up with these. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, put it
No
inside the
limits.
box.
So anyway, as far as how to put it together, okay, it kind of depends on how big it is, and I have something really cool for this. I was thinking, I touched base with a clock repair lady in Kansas City, and she's saving me all of her parts. So I have all these springs and all this stuff and all these little wheels and stuff. So I kind of thought, how I'm going to put it together, I don't know, but I thought this would be a really cool one to have. Like, I think it's you know, depth. I would do, you know, some close in and some sticking out. I like things outside the box, literally. I liked like this one, you know, that has Stephen's poetry is like coming outside the box. I really love that. It gives it some interest, but you know, that's just me.
So I'm thinking that, let's say I don't have a very pretty box. You know, I don't have a
Oh,
nice
sure.
wooden box.
Uh-huh.
What are some ideas about how I can make the box look nicer?
Sure, sure. Well, of course, paint, you know, acrylic paint. And if you don't have any, how about house paint? You know, how about digging into what you have, which would make it very unique, you know, as what you have. Paint, paper. I had a piece of little, oh, here it is. This tissue paper. I don't know where it came from, but I just loved it. You know, I mean, we all can get tissue paper, whatever color it is, whatever. But I would, I could see this lined, you know, and I love, to me, I love this unusual things. So let
Well,
me
I
get this
bet
one.
maybe photographs,
Absolutely, photographs,
newspapers like of the
anything like
day,
that.
you know.
Yeah, of course.
And I bet you
Or
could even
ticket.
print off, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm betting, let's say you were doing something, let's say for your mother, and because Mother's Day's coming up,
Right.
and maybe you could go online even and find like newspaper clippings or songs
Yeah.
that were #1 at that time,
Old
and
sheet music is great. Or sheet
literally,
period just as great.
right, and you
Yeah.
could print
Fun.
them off on your computer,
Absolutely.
and you could even tea stain them so that they
Yes.
didn't look so
Right.
new,
Right. Right.
and make
Yeah.
that part of a background, or even the outside of the box if the outside was ugly. I mean, you know, not all
Yeah.
boxes are beautiful.
But you know, I kind of like the funky boxes. I mean, I
Well,
have
true.
hold on a second. I mean, I have, of course, everybody can't really go to the antique malls, but you know, I like funky box. This is an old cheese box,
Oh
but
yeah.
you know, I like funky. You know, for some reason, I'm just one of. But yeah, I mean, I would like see what I had, what you know, what resonated, what you know, what interest, what are you interested in? Like you said for Mother's Day, I think did I show you this one? It was just yeah, just junk jewelry, you know, old jewelry, which is great. Um, you know, you can take this.
I have a box of
Yeah,
old jewelry that was my
sure.
grandmother's that just
Uh,
sits in the
yeah,
closet
and
because
that's
what am I
really
going to
cool
do with it?
stuff. You know, there you know.
Yeah.
You know, and this I lost the cigar box, but on the cigar box I did for my daughter, I literally took apart jewelry and attached it with, can't even remember, it's been so long, I did it in '05, but made holes in the cigar box because it really is a paper. You could like punch holes through it and kind of ran them through. And so hers is lined with, can you see that? My
Yes.
daughter's cigar box is lined with, you know, beads and stuff on the outside. And then I put like marbles or dice or whatever for the feet, you know, glue those on. Um, you know, tickets maybe like if a graduation, depending on, you know, what it is that is your interest.
Well, that's
I love
great.
paper. I love, you know, I have a whole bin of paper and cloth. I have a whole bin of like handkerchiefs and stuff like that. Those are, you know, lace. I love lace and these things.
Yeah. So
Old
really,
paper.
the sky's the limit.
There is, yeah, yeah.
It's
There's
whatever
no, there's
speaks
no
to you.
rules. No
Right.
rules.
No rules.
There's no rules. It's your thing. It's whoever's doing its thing, and to not get hung up on it has to be this way or that way, because that's, for me, that's the fun of it. I can change it. I can, you know, I don't like that. I can sit and look at it. Of course, you can do that with paint too, but there's just something about touching it, and you know, and I don't know. Just I love this little guy here. I found him at the thrift store, and you know, to me, I have some very elaborate boxes, but to me, I love the simplicity. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just where you're at. where you're at. I mean, I have some that are just so full of stuff, which is really cool too. And if you can kind of think of it as like a collage in a box, you know.
Well, when we're all finished with our talking,
Yeah,
I'm going to put at the end of this video some photos that you shared with me
sure.
and some
Yeah, sounds
photos
great.
that I took at the gallery of your work,
Uh-huh.
so that people can really see how many different ways,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
come up with
sure.
these things.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think this is just a wonderful idea because I think it's something that um, everyone can do.
yeah,
Um, as you know, especially as keepsakes. You know, I was researching because we talked earlier today, and you know, I was researching literally, okay, what makes art art?
yeah,
And so I need to share this with everybody because you know, a lot of the definitions were, well, you really can't define art,
right.
which is true.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I think the biggest difference is when you look at something and you say, oh, this is art, it's saying something, it's symbolizing something, it's an expression of something.
Right.
Um, Sometimes there's imagination that goes into it. Um, and so it's a little bit different than, say, I'm going to do a project. You know, I think part of it is how you think of it before you even start it.
Hmm.
Am I making a piece of art? And the actual, and I'm reading this, so the actual definition says that art is interpretive, symbolic expression of your imagination and created for emotional power or beauty.
That's beautiful.
And I thought that
Yeah.
was awesome,
Wow.
especially from
Yeah.
Webster, you know, that was pretty.
Sure. Yeah. And yes. And it's
So,
true. Yeah.
so yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having a project, you know, when you want to
Mhm.
do something that says, you know, oh, I want to do, um, you know, something for my mom for Mother's Day. I mean, that
Mhm.
might be a project,
Right.
but then you can elevate that. You can say, okay, well, this isn't just going to be a project for mom. This is going to symbolize how I feel about mom.
Sure. Yeah.
And then
Putting
it
some heart in it.
becomes, right. And then it
Yeah.
becomes art.
Yeah.
And anyway,
That's the way it
so
is for my art. When I do it, I get so attached to it because it becomes a part of me. It's my heart, you know. So, I mean, I don't just throw things together, but I get the inspiration from something someone said, or you know, like Stephen's poetry and stuff. I couldn't have come up with that. It wouldn't have been that cool if I just like, okay, I'm gonna, you know. But this is all inspired by him, and that's what all of these things are. You know, my boxes and stuff, and my art. Really, my art is inspired. It's inspiration I get, and then
well,
I get excited about that. And you know, if it stimulates me, then I go, yeah, I like that. So
and I should say that Kathy Ann gets very attached to her pieces.
I do, yeah, I
And
do.
sometimes I have to talk her into actually putting pieces at the gallery because, um, you know, they are very personal and, you know, but I think that's the way with really almost every artist. You know, they'll
Yeah, I
have
think so
maybe a
too. I
painting.
absolutely think so too.
Yeah, they'll have a painting or something that they feel very, very close to. And sometimes you, as an
Mhm.
artist, just have to,
Mhm.
you know, have it for yourself for a little while.
Yeah,
And then somewhere along the way, you create something else that's
yeah,
very personal. And then that
right.
other thing isn't as close anymore. And so eventually you get to the point where you'll have something that you've done a while back that, you know, you feel like, you know, I can finally let this go. And I
Yeah,
think it's important to let art go because it's almost and don't take this the wrong way, Kathy Ann. No, but it can be almost selfish to not share your art. And
Mm,
that's for all art. And somebody had to have that conversation with me. So this is not
I've let
because
some go and I've sold some. So,
right,
I
right.
don't really regret it.
It took me a
It's,
long time
yeah,
to let it go, but I got such joy out of
yes.
when someone purchases a piece of my art, and I see them and I hear them and they like love it, like something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, okay, it's time for me to allow somebody else to have
Yeah. It's
that.
a great way to look at it.
And it is a really good feeling
Yeah,
when
it is.
someone it just makes you want to go out and do more,
There
you
you
know.
go. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's a good thing. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we wrap it up?
No, if anybody's interested in maybe Googling Joseph Cornell and looking at his fabulous boxes, I just get so excited. He's just so interesting. Yeah, that's what I would say is go online. You got lots of time now and check out Joseph Cornell. He is a really interesting fella.
I'll make sure that I include that link on whatever
Okay, very
post
cool.
that I
Yeah.
put.
Yeah,
I'll
he's my
find a link.
inspiration on a lot of these. I mean, um, yeah, he's very, very cool.
Well,
They will
great.
see. All right, dear.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
Really enjoyed
you.
it, and I'm sure everybody else will too. Um,
All
we'll talk
right.
again soon.
Peace, guys.
Bye.
Bye, dear.